With public gatherings for Mass and prayer still suspended, there are a couple of important reminders and updates concerning the celebration of liturgy and sacraments and Holy Week 2020 in the Diocese of Syracuse. For more information on any of the following topics, please go to syrdio.org and check out both frequently asked questions and instructions for the celebration of Holy Week 2020. First and foremost, thank you for your patience and understanding. These are certainly uncharted waters, and while the sacramental ministry that tends to the care of souls is the highest law of the Church and priority, there are certain instructions that must be followed to ensure that this ministry is made available and received in safe, responsible, and yet spiritually enriching ways. With that said, the second thing to note is that the celebration of liturgy and sacraments is not suspended across the board. However, public gatherings are. So what does this mean? At this time, liturgies may be celebrated privately, that is, with no more than 10 people and with all the necessary health precautions and social distancing measures in place. Baptisms can be celebrated but should be postponed whenever possible. Confessions may be heard, preferably by appointment only, and general absolution is not to be given at this time. The Eucharist cannot be given to the faithful at this time, unfortunately, except as viaticum. There is little or no control over the spread of the virus. Masses, however, can be streamed for the participation of the faithful. Go to our website and check out resources for caring for our spiritual and sacramental lives while public gatherings are suspended. Confirmations are postponed. The celebration of the sacrament of matrimony can be celebrated but should be postponed whenever possible. The diaconate ordinations have been postponed for the time being. The sacrament of the anointing of the sick should be only given in danger of death. Local spiritual care centers at hospitals can be contacted to provide access to the sacrament for patients there. And note that the sacrament or any parts of it never may be administered by anyone other than a priest. Otherwise, it is invalid. The grace of the sacrament is not bestowed or received. Funeral masses may be celebrated with and the dead buried. When postponing funeral rites, parishes should keep in mind their availability of scheduling future memorial masses, either individually or perhaps in collective celebrations. And finally, on to Holy Week 2020. Holy Week is the week that changed the world. And there is a deep sadness in not being able to gather for the solemn celebrations of the Sacred Triduum. It is certainly a loss, which we must accept and mourn at this time. But it is also a time to allow God to fill this void by uniting ourselves spiritually to the celebrations of Palm Sunday, Holy Thursday, Good Friday, and Easter. These liturgies will be celebrated privately and streamed so that the faithful can join in prayer and worship as well as in being sanctified. For all the particulars on what has to be omitted from the liturgies of Holy Week, go to syrdio.org and check out instructions for the celebration of Holy Week 2020. These instructions take into account the fact that there is not an assembly present, and therefore there are certain parts of the liturgy that are omitted. For example, the various processions that involve the faithful. A brief word on the rite of Christian initiation of adults, as more information will be sent to those parishes that have submitted their numbers of catechumens and candidates. Because of the risk of spreading the coronavirus and because of the fact that the whole church cannot be present to celebrate, both the elect and candidates are no longer able to celebrate the sacraments of initiation at the Easter Vigil. However, Bishop Lucia has decreed that they may do so when public gatherings resume within Mass on any Sunday in Easter, including Pentecost, as well as on the solemnity of the Most Holy Trinity. For more information, go to syrdio.org and check out the decree for the adaptation of the celebration of the sacraments of initiation. And note, the faculty mentioned by which presbyters may confirm applies to those they baptize or receive into the full communion of the Catholic Church, as well as to those Catholics who are 16 or older who have not been catechized, meaning they have not been part of the Church since baptism. It does not apply to the candidates for confirmation currently in their faith formation programs. The bishop has also dispensed the elect from the celebration of 2 of the scrutinies. For more information, go to syrdio.org and check out the dispensation from the obligation to celebrate the remaining scrutinies. All 3 may be celebrated. However, at least one of them is to be celebrated at some point, either on a Sunday or a weekday before the celebration of the sacraments of initiation. So presbyters who are Celebrating the Easter Vigil, simply do the renewal of baptismal promises, which involves blessing water according to the form when there is no one to be baptized, as well as the rite of sprinkling. Once again, for more information, check out the instructions for the celebration of Holy Week 2020, and if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact the Office of Liturgy. Thank you, and may God bless you and continue to stir up in all of our hearts a deeper love for the sacramental life of the Church that we look forward to participating in more fully when public gatherings of the Church can resume.